Hello, and thanks for joining us on InfoFeed. While the world's eyes are glued to the drone swarms of the Persian Gulf and the shifting sands of the Afghan border, a more intimate, perhaps more chilling tragedy has unfolded in the streets of Qom. It is a story of a champion who traded his wrestling singlet for a prison uniform and eventually a shroud. Just this past week, the Iranian judiciary carried out a sentence that has sent shockwaves through the global sporting community. Saleh Mohammadi, a 19-year-old wrestling prodigy and international bronze medalist, was executed by public hanging. Saleh wasn't just another name on a docket, he was a rising star in Greco-Roman wrestling, a young man who had just turned 19 in a prison cell a week ago. He was convicted for the alleged killing of a Special Units Force officer during the January 2026 protests, a charge he denied until his final breath, maintaining that his confessions were written in blood and extracted under the weight of a torturer's baton.
Born in March 2007 in the industrial city of Saleh, Saleh Mohammadi moved to the holy city of Qom as a young boy. It was there, among the dust and the discipline of local gyms, that he began his journey in freestyle wrestling before transitioning to the technical rigors of Greco-Roman. By the time he was 17, Saleh was already a household name in the Iranian youth circuit. He was described by the National Wrestling Federation as a future pillar of the sport, possessing the rare combination of raw power and tactical patience. In September 2024, Saleh represented Iran on the world stage at the Sativ Cup, Krasnoyarsk, Russia, competing in the 71 kg and later 88 kg categories. He battled through a field of elite international opponents to secure a bronze medal, a feat that practically guaranteed him a path to the 2028 Olympics. Beyond his international hardware, Saleh was a multi-time provincial champion and a silver medalist at the Abdullah Movahed International Cup. He had earned the right to wear the Iranian national singlet, a symbol of immense pride in a country where wrestling is more than a sport. It is the national soul. Like thousands of his generation, Saleh joined the January 2026 protests, a movement fueled by economic despair and a demand for social dignity. On January 15, security forces snatched him from his life. The charge? The murder of a police officer on the streets of Qom during the unrest of January 8th. His defense team presented a CCTV footage and alibi witnesses placing him at his uncle's house during the crime. The court refused to hear them, citing national security as a reason to exclude the defense. Amnesty International reports that Saleh's hands were fractured during interrogation. Under such duress, he signed the papers that would eventually hang him, a practice human rights groups called the manufacturing of guilt. From arrest to execution took barely 2 months. In Iran's revolutionary courts, the clock of justice often skips the minutes of due process in favor of deterrence. Saleh was sentenced under the law of qisas, or retribution, an eye for an eye, legal principle, where the victim's family can demand the life of the accused. Alongside qisas, he was charged with muharabah, enmity against God. Under Iran's penal code, this allows the state to frame political dissent as a religious crime, carrying an automatic death sentence. It is crucial to note that this execution took place while Iran is locked in an escalating and direct conflict with the US and Israel. In times of war, the Iranian judiciary often tightens its grip, viewing international dissent as treason or a fifth column activity. By invoking these rigid religious and revolutionary laws during a period of high national security alert, the state effectively eliminates the middle ground, using the gallows to signal that it will tolerate zero instability while its borders are under threat. On March 11th, Saleh turned 19. His celebration was a final visit from his family, who were told a retrial was under consideration. It was a lie designed to prevent public outcry before the hanging. On Thursday morning, at the very intersection where the crime allegedly occurred, the gallows were raised. In a move meant to terrorize the local youth, the execution was performed in public. Saleh was not alone. Alongside him were Mehdi Ghazemi and Saeed Davoudi. 3 lives ended before the city was fully awake. The first protesters executed from the January wave. The world cannot help but look back to 2020 and the execution of Navid Afkari. The playbook hasn't changed. The state continues to target athletes because their popularity makes them dangerous symbols of resistance. Today, the International Olympic Committee is under immense pressure. Over 200 Olympians have signed a petition. How can a regime that hangs its champions be allowed to compete for gold? In Tehran today, graffiti featuring Saleh's face has appeared overnight. He has become the face of a generation that feels the government values a police officer's life more than a world champion's future. Today, the wrestling gyms in Qom are quiet. In a country that measures its greatness by its palavans or heroes, the state has just executed a piece of its own identity.
It makes you wonder, doesn't it? If a government is so confident in its justice, why does it need to break a young man's hands to get a signature? Why does it need to hide the CCTV footage that could prove his guilt or innocence? Saleh Mohammadi was 19. He had the strength to throw world-class opponents, but he couldn't survive the weight of a system that views its own youth as an existential threat. Iran is a country that prides itself on its champions, yet it seems to have a terrifying habit of killing them. The gallows in Qom may be empty, but the questions they've raised are louder than ever. When a state starts hanging its future to protect its past, it raises a question on how much of a future does it really have left. Facts inform, but stories transform.